Generating traffic and sales can be a challenge for online merchants. But selling on the Walmart Marketplace puts your products in front of millions of customers who shop on Walmart.com. And right now, sellers who join Walmart Marketplace can save up to 50% on referral and fulfillment fees for the first 90 days. So get started today. Head over to marketplace.walmart.com/savings. That's marketplace.walmart.com/savings. Welcome to Ecommerce Conversations, a weekly podcast from Practical E-commerce, hosted by entrepreneur Eric Bandholz.
What is going on, Internet? Eric Bandholz back again with another E-commerce Conversations. Hope all is going well on the other side of the Internet. On the other side of the table from me, Armen. What's up, man?
How are you? I'm, like I said, starstruck still, so forgive me.
Long-time listener, huh?
Long-time listener. Prior to the COVID, when I was dabbling and doing more things with e-commerce, and I was doing homework.
Yeah. Did you just find the podcast? Is that how you first ran across me?
I think I might have heard you on Udarian's podcast. I'm not sure, but I kind of like a swirling pool of water around you two, I believe.
Yeah. Andrew is, in my opinion, one of the greats of e-com and what he's done with e-commerce fuel and that community. If you have not listened to his podcast or checked out ECF, I would highly recommend anyone to do that immediately. But before we get into it, who the hell are you?
My name is Armen Arto Alajian. I'm the son of Arto, brother of Arjan, husband to Sally, and what I get to do is make tile and sell it around LA, Los Angeles, and the world when lucky. Dude,
there's a lot of things that I want to learn about this business. First of all, you got arto.com.
Correct.
ARTO. Has that been something y'all have just owned since the internet started, or like how did you get that?
I made my first sale on a bulletin board in 2001 or so. And I thought I should buy a domain name in like 99, 98. So I bought a domain name, Arto Brick. If I had known better, I'd have bought Arto Brick, everything with a variant of that, but I did not. So 3 years ago, it came up, I guess it was a business in Europe that went out of business. The domain came up. I paid, to me, too much money for it. I think I paid like 18 grand for it.
Oh, that's it.
I know, for four letters.
Four letter domain, 18K.
Yeah, I probably could have got it for less, but I was like excited. I'm going to buy it, and so I bought it. And I vacillate back and forth because Arto, if you don't know the brand, it's not like Nike yet, where, oh yeah, Nike shoes. No, it's Arto. What the hell does Arto do? So have the domain, love it. I'm thinking 100 years from now, the brand will be that good, but I'll be dead then.
I want to dig in a little bit more about how you acquired that. So would you check arto.com regularly, or how did you know they went out of business?
There's a thing that's called Google.
I know, but I mean, it's not like you're Googling the domain every single day, is it?
No, I have Google do it for me. There was filters. I don't know. Maybe it was an old thing.
Or news or something. Yeah,
like anything that says Arto or Arto Brick or Arto Tile, it just come in my inbox automatically. And I heard about it, and then I looked into it, and then it was not that complicated. I don't think it was, other than being scared to spend the money.
Yeah,
it wasn't like, I don't remember it being a dramatic story of acquiring it. Acquiring it was the part about spending a lot of money to me.
Yeah.
I buy used cars. 18 grand is a lot of money to me.
So let's talk about it. How did you reach out to them?
I got reached out to. So what happened was I noticed it. I was a day too late. Someone acquired it.
Oh, so like it was auto-acquired. It was not renewed.
Correct.
Someone else.
And then either they reached out to me, I reached out to them, and we just had a escrow.com sale. It was very not dramatic. The dramatic thing was in my brain about spending the cash. It was not at all like call up his cousin. It was simply the guy was flipping the
so he came to you, and he had like some script that auto purchased it for $11, $20.
Yeah.
And then he's like, hey man, I got this domain. So he made like 18K.
Correct.
In one day's worth of work.
Amen. You should interview that guy.
Yeah, I would. I did. Like, if you know him, send over his
you know what? I'll look it up. You really want to know him?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I've because in our space, like domains are relatively important part of business.
Let's flex. How many domain names do you own?
I don't know, probably about 100.
Is that all?
Yeah.
Okay. I think I might own like 625.
Oh, wow. I've gotten used to, at this point, I'm like, I'm never going to do anything with these. And these domain names are so niche that, it's not worth keeping. And if it's not a .com, like I let go of my .nets and my .cos and all my kind of junk.
Every idea I have, I try and buy a domain. That's how I do it. I don't collect stamps. I collect domain names.
Yeah. Well, I just bought one a couple days ago.
What was it?
Voxa brand.
Oh, what does it mean in your language?
Well, so Voxa, VAXA, is growth.
Okay.
So it's like growth brand. And
how did you find that? You were looking it up and it just showed up?
Yeah, well, I was trying to buy Voxa.com, which is a 4-letter domain, which is owned by a company right now. So I've tried reaching out to them and say, hey, would you sell it to me? Knowing that it'd be probably pretty expensive. And I haven't heard back from them. So, and then I was talking to one of my coworkers about brand. It's just Voxa brand. And I'm like, well, I got Beard brand and Voxa brand. That kind of makes
sense.
Makes more sense. Because I was trying to think of like, what is a word I could go put with it? Like Go Voxa or, My Voxa.
Get Voxa.
Get Voxa, But I always think like those are kind of lame. No offense to anyone that has that type of URL. But brand was available. So it's like, I pay $12 for it. And then it's not that big of a cost.
Well, it's when you keep 100 years for the $12 every year.
Yeah, exactly. So, and you have 600 of them.
Yeah. I'll tell my CPA, my accountant.
$6,000 a year.
Yeah.
So what I want to talk about is like your story. Well, let's walk through. What is the story of Arto?
It's when I do a tour with the business, we manufacture the products that we sell. Is that immigrant guy, my dad, lost everything to socialism in Egypt. So parents had a factory in there. They made shoes out of leather. The government came in and took their business away. He came to the States. There's more steps, but came to the States, came to Texas, hated it. New York hated it. Landed in California in the late 50s, loved it. In California, but not in tile. He got involved with being a milkman in the morning and going to school at night to be a mechanic on airplanes. But what happened is he met a woman, not my mother, called Irene Birkenbreiter. I love storytelling. Sorry if it adds too much. And she made ceramics, and she made two kinds of ceramics. One was to pay the bills, which was murals and stuff. So she did like the missions, restoration work. And then one was true, what's Jackson Pollock do? What kind of style art is that? It's called, impressionist. No, in any case, she didn't make a weird horse. She just made products she made murals and statues that were abstract without any, you don't know what the heck it is. Not like so backing up a little bit, she made the murals to pay money, and around the mural she put bricks to make it like a real mural, like an old country. And so on his milk route, my dad would take the brick to restaurants and to moms in El Segundo and Santa Monica and show the brick, come back on the weekend and install it. So he made it install. That's the story how he started. First SKU is one brick.
Okay. And just like standard bricks, not tile or anything.
No, it was a remember the Z brick? No, you don't.
I'm not. Yeah.
So you're not by. Yeah, I'm older than you. So it was a thin brick. It was a 1/2 inch thick, about 2x8. It would go over a wall. That's why you do it
like
over
a veneer-esque kind of brick.
Real clay.
Yep. And then when did you get involved in the business?
Birth. No, really. We used to install, so I would go to job sites and install. And so as a child of the owner, as soon as I could go to a job site, and then parents divorced when I was 10, estranged from my father. And then when I was 18 years old, I reconnected with him. And between 18 and 25 years old, trying to reconnect, I got fired 5 times and quit 5 times. And when we made peace, we grew.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you willing to talk about that whole dynamic? I mean, obviously the divorce is very challenging.
Yeah.
You have one brother, or do you have multiple brothers?
I have one brother, younger.
Okay. And then did your dad ever remarry and have other family members?
Not till after 18.
Okay.
Yeah, so like he had my dad was a ladies' man, very much so. I mean, he could wear a potato sack and look suave, but never multiple at one time. So he didn't get remarried till he was like in his 70s.
Oh wow.
My dad my dad married, I think, someone 10 years older than me. I mean, my dad's his dad. My dad was the man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you got, it's funny you talk about him being Egyptian. My rowing coach in college is Egyptian. Okay. So, I would imagine they're not exactly the same person.
Armenian blood, Egyptian born. FYI.
Okay.
Yeah.
And, so, I mean, it's, that dynamic, like if you got fired 5 times, why did you keep on going back?
We didn't fight over the fact that I didn't comb my hair or came late to work. We had a synergy over arguing about the business. And so it wasn't typical teenager stuff. It was like almost business partner stuff.
Yeah.
And when I was a kid, I'm not sure. Here's a tangent for you. When I was 10 years old, I was alone. My mom worked. My dad worked. We went together. And I would sell things, right? And so I don't know if having the latchkey lifestyle made me do that or if it was part of who I am already. But I'm a merchant. My dad's a merchant. We make stuff, but we're merchants. So we argued about being merchants, how to be a better merchant. And I loved it and it was fun to do it. And there was a lot of baggage emotionally. So like, for example, like the last time that I had a divorce with my father, I call it divorce, but breakup. Yeah. My wife, we had 1 kid already. So it was 26 then. My wife would go secretly and take the grandkid to my dad. And my dad, the last time that we made peace, my dad called me. My dad's old school. So my dad called me and said, let's figure it out. And then from there, we figured it out. And he respected me and I respected him. And I think by the time before he passed, we were actually partners and friends. It was really good. Sorry for hitting the table so many times.
Yeah. No, so one of the things that I want to do is build a multi-generational business. And, obviously with family, you tend to get family dynamics that get sprinkled into the business. I assume when you're 18 years old and you have all that, energy at that young age, things seem to matter a lot more and you don't have the experience to kind of keep things in check, that there could be a lot of volatility and
correct.
And, disagreements. Was one of the things that you did to settle it was just kind of finding, different parts of the business to work on so you didn't clash as much, or how did you resolve that?
2 things happened. So I think that my dad did more work than I did in making the healing begin because he called me. I didn't call him. So I've thought about it for a while. So that was the biggest part of the equation, was that my dad humbled himself and said,
swallowed the sword.
Yeah. And the other part was I'm a born again guy and I got saved when I was 25. And so I think between my dad doing most of the actual hard work and me not being reactive and being different mindset, it really allowed for forgiveness and growth. And once we committed to the business, I learned a lot from him. And so if you're lucky, you can have a young man or young woman kind of understand that the best way to get smart is to steal wisdom from old people. And if you have a good old guy or old gal that can teach you and they're willing to be humble, I think that's a combination for generational. And to me, wealth isn't actual cash. Wealth is experience and the ability to survive the next generation. Because, liberty comes from having You're a liberty guy.
Yeah.
Liberty comes from having capital in your pocket to make choices. So the more you can have liberty in your pocket, the more you can make choices, whether it is to close up and go up to a different state, around the corner or whatever. It gives you opportunity to make choices.
I've been thinking about this multi-generational concept a little bit and the analogies to building a business. It's like when you go from the startup, like the 0 to 1 phase, which you weren't part of, for maybe you were.
I'm going to go.
You saw it, experienced it, but your dad kind of built that up.
Amen.
And then so like this first stage of business, you build up, and then the business like learns how to operate at the next stage, right? And then hopefully the business continues to grow, and then it learns how to operate, and almost to the point where it forgets how to go from the 0 to 1 because that skill is no longer needed. I think the same is almost true with like families. And it's like you and your family, like your dad lost everything, was an immigrant, came, had to go from 0 to 1. He built this infrastructure that allowed you to level up. And now you have this opportunity with your brother to take it to the next level and then leave your kids, like no longer having to go from that 0 to 1.
Right.
And you can build like that's how multi-generational wealth gets created, is like your kids get to build from a higher standing point. And, God forbid one of them goes back to zero, which is
happens.
It's going to happen, especially because you have 8 children.
I have 8 kids.
Statistically speaking, it's unlikely that
I know
all of them will maintain
I have
the same
nightmares.
But you'll be there for them. And I think like here in America, there's this idea of like building and then selling and then equally, passing on to your kids.
Yeah.
You have brother or sibling-in-laws. Are they involved in Arto at all?
Yeah, my brother and I in 2001 almost had a divorce, and I call it that. Some dramatic, but a breakup. And through that break, because I would consider my brother and I 0.5, because my dad took it to like 8 employees, and my brother and I took it to like 35. Mm-hmm. So now my brother is an owner, not an operator, and I'm learning how to be a CEO. I've always been a partner, either my father or my brother. Been a learning curve, and so my brother is a full-on partner owner, and we talk about strategy, like expanding capital expenses, and I'm learning how to do that, and he's on board with it, and he has a kid, so he's thinking about next generation, and we both know that the future is not being in. People listen to this the show. People know that listen here that being in charge of your destiny is the trick. And if you can, whether it's a large company, a small company, medium company, if you can control your income and you have a lot of liberty to do, you have choices. And he wants that for his kid. I want it for my kids. My brother and I both agree on this. I can't rule from the grave. All we can do is offer our children an opportunity that they can take or not take. And we can't force them. We can't do anything to make them do anything. It's all about opportunity and letting them see a choice they can decide if they want to be part of it or not if they want to.
Yeah. Now, you said your father had kids when he was 70 years old. How old are those?
No kids.
Okay.
He's remarried.
He remarried, but it's just the two of y'all.
Yeah.
Okay,
it's real simple. Yeah, okay. We have 9 among us. My dad made it simple for us. My mom made it simple for us. No other kids. We have it real lucky. There's not 8,000 dysfunctional families, just 2 dysfunctional kids. My brother and I are dysfunctional, but we love it.
So your brother, he's like at the partner level. Does he also have full-time work that he does outside of Arto then?
Not yet. Okay. Not yet.
Is this a recent thing or?
Yeah, 2021.
Okay.
And we're both healing from being workaholics. We're both healing from being in our own silos. He ran the back of the house, I ran the front of the house. And for a long time, we did great. And then he had something he wanted to share with me. So back to dysfunction and families. I've been reading a lot about third generations and generational businesses. There's 2 things you can do. First thing is make sure you, like any family. So all you get to do, like any family, is do your best to get out of your system all of your issues with your brother or sister or whoever, or your parents,
your partner. Yeah.
Yeah. So get it so that's for any family or any business, right? So there's nothing. Generational businesses are nothing more than working at being a family. And I learned one thing from reading books. They all have one thing in common. You can get a wealth manager if you can build generational wealth by buying memories. So when you're a kid in the car with your dad and mom going to some place for 2 weeks, that's a memory you can't replace. So if you have second and third cousins that are owners of a business, go to Phoenix, Arizona in January for 2 weeks and build memories. Because otherwise, all you see is your cousins at funerals and weddings, and that's it. So build memories. That's what I've learned, is build memories. So my brother and I, in 2021, we went to Reno, rented a house. So we almost like had a catastrophe. And he won't say that. I think that because I'm a drama queen sometimes. But we rented a house in Reno, and we did family things together. We did, what's the thing on the go-karts that go fast inside. We went snowboarding, skiing, and we did family stuff for 1 week, and we went away. And it was good to have his 1 kid and my 8 kids, and it was great that my Olivia, my brother's kid, loves my cousins because they're cousins, and she's a good family lady.
Are you all in the same town?
Yeah, so I live in 2 towns, but my one town that I live in is near him. So I live in LA. He lives in LA, and my license says South Dakota. And my brother's actually actively building a place in Costa Rica. Okay. And my brother's awesome. He's not building a mansion. He's building a shack, literally.
Yeah.
Well, not literally a shack, but it's not like a mansion.
So your kids, what was it, like 11 to 27 or something
You
like
got
that?
it, yeah.
And are the older ones starting to take interest in the business?
Yes. So I let my kids work in the business when they were younger. And then I had one kid
When did they start working in the business?
whenever they could, 16, 15, 13.
Okay.
And then I'm a salesman by trade. And so when we traveled the country and saw customers in Oklahoma or in Alabama or in Florida, we homeschooled.
Mm-hmm.
We would travel in a Sprinter van or in a Astro van when I had 3 kids. And we would travel the country and see customers. They would walk in and shake the guy or gal's hand and say, hello, my name is Adam or my name's Sarah. So they've all been around business. They love business. But I had them all leave and work for other people that would hate them. Not hate them, but not be their dad or mom. And this week I have 2 kids coming in full time. They're around the corner at Palmer Center doing the trade show. They set it up without me and having a great time. And so the answer to your question is yes, they all want to do something. And I realized last month that I have like 1 million domain names, 625 domain names. I got a ton of ideas that I never executed. So what if I give my kids a 2-year AA degree of working at Arto and like hustling, learning like the different parts of the business, and then started my ideas and had one kid take the idea from 0 to 1, then the next idea 0 to 1, and get someone to run it or sell it or something. But it may not work, but experience is what I can give my kids.
Yeah. How do you think about what roles to put them in? Like, there's always like this nepotism thing where like the owner's kids get the leg up in business, which I think is the whole point of having a business, is that you get to give your kids a leg up. But that can create some friction within the organization or some animosity between.
Does it have to? That's an assumption that we've been told by the TV shows and the movies.
I don't think it has to. I mean, I think it's as long as you treat people with respect and you're clear and communicate. So, but how do you know what role to put them into?
They have to find the role, and the one thing they have to do is come early, leave late.
Yeah,
old fashioned Japanese style of working. Right, can be the first one there, last one to leave, and then find your place. I mean, if somebody wants to be in, I want the kids at the end of the day to be owners. They don't have to be operators. So if you had generational wealth and it was apartment buildings, what does that mean? You have to go to work. What's go to work? Go to the bank, right? Cash your check. So owner mentality, you're an owner, right? It's a different way of thinking than employee. And it's can be developed or you're born with. I don't know which one it is. But long story short, my end goal is to develop owners, not operators. If they can be operators as well, God bless them. So if I have a kid that's an owner and loves being a diesel mechanic, but knows what a P&L sheet looks like and knows about 10 years from now versus tomorrow's food, that's what I'm looking for. I don't need to have operators. I'm giving them an opportunity. I do want to force them to be owners, but not to be operators.
Yeah. You have 8 kids. Your brother has 1. Is the vision to split it up 9 ways?
I don't know. Good question. This one is, I don't mind sharing this. I think it's actually a blessing to have the kids, my 8, not have a lot of wealth. That way they have to work a lot. I don't know. I could. I've never. It's on my list to talk to my bro about should I transfer money to my brother and divide the business up because it's 2 brothers. I have 8 kids. He has 1. It's not his fault, right? I have 8 kids, right? So do I just buy some of it from him and divide it equally among 9 people? Or do I just, the way it is, don't worry about it, is have 2 groups. One is 50%, it's 1 person. One is 50%, that's 8, and not worry about it.
Yeah.
In a way, it's almost like, dysfunctional businesses, but like the U.S. government, you have the Senate and you have the House.
Right.
You have like one vote, 8 votes. Maybe it's good to have it move slowly,
Yeah. My thoughts are find the kids that show interest in the business and want to be part of it and give them the opportunity to take ownership, but not all of them are entitled to
here's what I've been reading about. So you have operators take control and they want control. And so what can happen with traditional companies, you have my 7 kids that don't want to be operators and only one owner, right? And so in theory, if we have and we have 9 of them, right?
Yep.
If 8 of them want to sell, that's lame. The way you make it generational, I've been hearing is that the operators are going to be treated like executives. They'll be comped at a great rate if they perform. But the owners are owners, and give the owners mentality, whether they're working the business or not. That's the way to make it go the third and fourth, because what happens is the fifth generation, I'm thinking in 1,000 years. Yeah. So I'll be dead. But if you can have the owners have owner mentality and give the executives, the operators in the family that plus, then they're not going to sell, and they're not going to doom their grandkids to being employees or not being owners. Because that's my thought is, operators should get comped properly, but all should be owners' mentality. Like owning stock or owning buildings.
But what if one of your kids never develops that owner's mentality?
I don't know. I'll be dead.
I mean, because like in my I've gone down the rabbit hole, and there's like kind of historically there's been like, the oldest son gets the family land, or the youngest son gets the family land, or the oldest daughter gets it. There's been like some kind of societal rules where it's not the American way is that we split it up evenly. And I don't know if you want to maintain a multi-generational business, if that's going to be the most successful way, because you're putting 9 people together is going to be a lot of conflict. And like you said, 9 of them, you could have 5 that want to sell it who are not associated with the business at all. They just want the cash because they want a new car, or, their spouse starts poking them to say, hey, we got all this money in Arto, let's get that money. Not really understanding how businesses operate and the needs of a business. So I almost lean towards like having kids that do show that interest are going to get the ownership of the business, but it's also a burden that they have to wear in running the business. And then maybe the other kids, they get cash and they can build their own generational wealth their own way.
I'm going to twist it a little bit. I'm not trying to, my goal used to be about building generational wealth. My goal is to have 5th cousins that love each other. Okay. And so in the olden days, they'd have a farm that was 1 million acres, and they'd keep dividing it up. And when, one brother dies, and they share the property again. But I've seen too many families after the parents die disperse. Yeah. So my wealth, I won't get to really enjoy it, will be if my kids, my wife and I croak, actually see each other, not at funerals and weddings. They actually see each other if they live in the same city, every month, every week. And if they live in the same country, once a quarter for fun. So my wealth isn't the money. I think the true wealth is that my kids actually know and love each other and have what's it called, affinity for each other. So money is a tool to help you keep a family together, and it's not about them. So using money as a tool, not the end goal. And if that make any sense?
Well, are you building a family compound that they can all connect at?
It's a lot of control, isn't it?
Well, I mean, like you get like 1,000 acres somewhere. You build a house that everyone can come to. You have a nice swimming pool there, and they can create memories there. And then it's like you take that. If you talk about you want your family to get together regularly, it's like you almost have to build that infrastructure that allows them a place to do it easily. Because the reality is, like, trying to get everyone's schedule, 8 different families with soccer games and like daily life going on, like unless you have this like foundational place that they all go to, like the family farm.
We have a family farm. It's in the middle of nowhere. So we're looking at family farms that are closer to the world. We have some land in South Dakota in the Black Hills. It's far.
Yeah. So I mean, like, this is your goal. How are you executing on this idea to keep your family together?
My first step in my master plan is to get the kids involved with the business. Second step would be pick a city that we can all live in. And so before we moved to the Black Hills, I was thinking about San Antonio. I love San Antonio more than Austin. Sorry. And so where I'm actively looking, like I'm on the way back I drove here. So on the way back to South Dakota, I'm going to stop in Waco. I like the idea of Waco. It's not overpriced yet. So I'm looking for a place right now for that issue. You could buy a home for $280,000. I know it's hotter there than most of the world, but you can build a life. Yeah. Because I'm not a billionaire. I'm a hundredaire, right? Mm-hmm. So, and I'm not going to buy things for my kids. I want them to, earn it for themselves. Yeah. So I like the idea of having the 100 acres and having everyone have a house on there, but then it's limited as well, because if you have kids.
Yeah. I'm not saying that you have a place that everyone lives on. I'm saying you have a place that everyone.
Yeah. So my wife and I
visit.
right now, we are calling the Black Hills our ancestral home until further notice.
Yeah.
I'm an Angelino at heart. I love my dying city. I hope it comes back. But making it a family home, I can't afford Newport Beach, so I pick somewhere I can afford to call family ancestral home.
Yeah. The other thing I want to talk about is like you are in manufacturing.
Correct.
You make the product. This is like a very physical product.
Very handmade.
You make it in California.
Like an idiot. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, like how does that even financially make sense?
Okay. So until about 4 years ago, I would tell this story. You know, Eric, when you go to a museum and it have not a museum. What's it called when they see it the stars? In any case, it's a museum.
Okay.
And they have 4 scales, and it says how much you weigh on Saturn, how much you weigh on Earth, and how much on the moon. So on the moon, you're lighter, and on Earth, you're your weight. I was born on Saturn. I have no idea, in the olden days that it cost more to produce there because I was born there, raised there, started there. As of the last 4 years, I know now that I'm on Saturn, and it costs way more to produce than it should. So my brother and I are actively looking at how the heck do we expand. Our brand is LA based. What the hell do I do? Do I keep a laboratory there and move it to Phoenix, move it to Texas, move it to Nevada? What do I do? So that's an actual brand story that we're discussing.
Yeah.
Him and I are on the same page. We know that the city of LA fed me and him, and we probably have to feed our families via that city. But there's a great story to be told in San Antonio or Austin or St. Augustine, Florida, because when I open the front door of San Antonio, it looks like what I produce. I open the front door of Tucson, it looks like what I produce. So yeah, it's expensive to build stuff in LA, and I don't know why I do it. I love the city.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's not in the long-term vision though.
Unless so all dealers that are listening to this podcast that I sell to, just a hypothetical concept, if I was to sell direct to consumer 100% of what I manufacture, I could. Imagine being Hermes of tile.
Yeah.
I sold, so my street cred, if I took my wholesale prices and doubled it, I'm buying you coffee today.
Yeah.
He bought me coffee, by the way. So yeah, if I sold direct at the retail price, I could stay there longer. But I do sell majority of my work wholesale, so it is hard to sell double tap it, right? I sell to Eric's tile shop,
yep,
and Eric sells it to my wife. That's 2 steps. So if I sold to my wife directly, different story.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's certainly a little more margin in that, but then you have all the same sales burdens.
Correct.
You have that
Right.
the tile manufacturers.
We discussed this. So I think that I get lucky. Discovery and free advertising. That's what we're going to do the angle of. When I have my dealers, I don't have to pay Meta to get discovered.
Yeah. And I think I would imagine that the tile space is still something that people do in person.
There are companies that I will not mention because I don't want to give them free ad. Who I like one of them very much. I like him very much. His first name is Eric as well. That do very well sell on direct, but they make attract online, but they do close by email or phone.
Yeah.
There is one company, but you can sell millions of dollars, actually maybe billions of dollars of tile online direct.
Yeah.
So it's not, even though you and I are probably tactile and have to see it, there's many people that aren't high design that could say, it's blue, I'll take it.
Yeah. That's sweet. Where can people buy your tile?
In 300 stores around the country.
Yeah. Where do they find those stores?
At arto.com. Are we closing the show now?
Yeah.
That's the
Is
end?
this how we wrap it up?
Damn. Sorry, did I cut out? They cut the word cursing out?
No, it'll be all right.
Basically, we're in dealers around the country. We are in, if a store sells product under $10 a square foot, we're probably not in that store. So we're in stores that I call boutique. There are some high-end stores that are chains, but most stores that sell higher quality products that are not available at the box stores. So does that make any sense? So you can
just go to arto.com and look for the store finder.
Or you know what I like? I love getting DM'd on Instagram.
Okay.
Instagram is organic, has helped me come here today.
Yeah. And shameless, what's it called?
Plug?
The shameless plug. I've got his tiles.
No, you don't.
Well, not your tiles.
I
but
sourced it for you.
I've got tiles that you sourced for me.
Yes. For your wife to be exactly as she wanted
for
it.
my wife. For the designer, I guess.
You know that I'm popular with women 26 to 52?
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Well,
I'm all the time.
I don't know how many women who are 26 to 52 listen to the podcast, but I know there's a couple of them out there.
Right.
Check out arto.com. Some beautiful tiles. Armen, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you very much, Eric. Like I said, I can't believe you interviewed me.
Well, you got a great story to tell, so why would I not?
Thank you.
This has been another e-commerce conversations. Cheers. Keep on growing.